it's down to just the three of us then. Right?
Yes, it is a completely more focused coterie. Your actions will carry more weight because there's less to offset it, less to hide behind.
Oh boy. I hope you have some plans in place, Kat.
Hey, this is my flip out and do stupid shit violently game.
I mean, I thought that was Muzan's job. Now we have two people that do that.
Yeah, it's funny also because one of the many glowing issues that Zach had was where we left last season with Frost tearing into them again.
Again.
Yeah. And as far as silly violent, well, the suburbs are kind of the place for that. You get to, cut loose a little bit. You get to delve into... It's easier to hide a body in the suburbs than it is in the city, surprisingly. If you choose your victims wisely. Less people to notice that they're missing, less people to care that they're missing. Though the people that do care that they're missing will care considerably more, not as accustomed to folks disappearing.
Well, that was some exaggeration on my part. The wonderful thing about Kat is that she doesn't go picking fights, but if one comes up, she's gonna fucking indulge in it 100%. She's not, hey, look, a cop, let's attack it.
Well, the funny thing is, you guys did pretty well on your stealth roll. I'm just waiting on Bo, because I saw Abe, Evergreen, and everybody else. I'm just waiting on Bo to make his roll to give the prompt for that.
Oh, I'm assuming this is referencing another chronicle.
Oh yeah, New Orleans. There's Reverend Abe, Reverend Noel, Salem, Mal, and Bo, and Evergreen. That form the basis of the Forgotten Care Coterie. They were at ground zero for a sundering of alliances and the scapegoating of others, and were sneaking away from the police cordon. I needed them a stealth roll so they can make it from Salem's place to Bo's place. We're just waiting on Bo's stealth roll because he is, in fact, probably the most violent of them. And it's weird because there's two Bruja. He is the more critical build of them all.
Poor Salem is already largely done with these people. Let's hit people with other people. People or clubs.
It's depressing, but you gotta admit, that was pretty freaking funny. Hey, don't be so over the top!
Listen, it's an efficient attack strategy. You're causing damage to two people at once.
Yeah, I mean, I see that, but when there's 50 witnesses...
Then you hit those 50 people with another 50 people, and then there's no witnesses.
This is Chuck Gowdy here with the New Orleans ABC News at 7. Seems as if there was not a mass shooting at the Lamplight. There was a mass beating. Police on the scene are still trying to sort out how many individuals were injured in yet another tragic nightclub incident.
What we do know is many of those people injured were police.
And then you got that one witness, Wardy, I seen it all, Wardy. They was up in there and then they were shooting and screaming, Wardy.
He's holding a drink and wandering around in his underwear. Yeah, I seen it all.
They are definitely in for it. Welcome.
Got one shoe on.
Give me one quick sec. I'm going to grab a drink. And then, if you guys are ready, we're going to dive right in because you guys were in the middle of massacring a bunch of donors that Dia was contemplating saving. Give me one quick sec. I'll be right back.
Remind me, was I here for the last session?
You were.
Okay.
I know this because I just listened to it today.
Okay.
I do not remember massacring a bunch of donors though.
We were trying to avoid it. They had just come in and we
They were
had
terrified of all the stuff that was going on.
Oh
they
yeah,
freaked
all
out.
your fledgling and your fledgling's fledgling and everybody else freaking out. It's a good opportunity for Kat to get rid of some extra NPCs.
This is what Lucio gets for not saving his sisters soon enough.
And then
No,
there's Zach, who
No,
is
they're both evil.
trying to save, but might not be savable. And then Frost. Oh,
There's some part of me that's wondering, could I reunite Zach and Sasha?
Did you not hear what Calabalar she said?
What? What did he say? If he said we have to do everything together or else we fail. If I diablerize him, then he'll be with us forever. That means he's going to be doing everything with us together, right?
Yeah, so
Wait, who are we diablerizing?
That's not what Calabalar
Everyone.
said. Calabalar
The whole world.
Eventually, yes. It is a dog-eat-dog world out there. So, we are back together again for the first time once again. Welcome, welcome. Glad you guys are here. This being our return to the south suburbs of Chicago. This being us returning to Dalton and where we last left our coterie. Does everyone remember where we were?
Muzan had just staked Frost, and the donors were freaking out, and we were trying to calm them down, ?
pretty much trying to get Zach fed so he didn't die, but then now it's like, well, I don't know.
Oh, I don't remember if this actually played out or not, but I think I messaged Storyteller asking if I could try and give Zach some blood.
You did. You mentioned that actually not very long after our last episode. And yeah, you could. But where is Muzan's hunger?
Ooh, good question. I have it recorded as 2.
So giving Zach 1, 2 points, 2 bits of himself, 2 portions, 2 full droughts would put him at 4 at the outside. Zach is effectively, just so that you are aware mechanically to get a grasp of the situation, Zach is too superficial from torpor. He is in fact impaired, and one of the many things about feral weapons, while it is not naturally aggravated, it quickly moves individuals into aggravated because it is unhalved damage. So while initially most of you all having watched it happen, this is no different than any of the other injuries that you've all suffered along the way. Muzan, having more experience with feral weapons, understands that every time you pull feral weapons, it is literally a matter of life or death for everything in your path. Because the average person, the average strength individual with feral weapons is putting most people into aggravated with the first successful attack and death with the second. Usually. Gangrel to Gangrel, Nosferatu to Nosferatu, things vary because they're a little hardier, but typically 2 good attacks with someone wielding weapons made of vitae, and it's over for them. Zach surviving that barrage is in and of itself a Valentine's Day miracle. There should have been no way, luckily for them, taking half on both of their regards meant that Frost wasn't doing his maximum damage. With Zach in the way.
One moment.
He must be one of them sissy gangrels.
Yeah, Zach lucked out. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Not for the diligent effort of Dia another exchange of damage, and there wouldn't have been anything left of Zach to bother to try to save.
Sorry about that. It was a phone call.
Understandable. So, well, actually, even Katarzyna doesn't Gina have feral weapons? She knows how the moment that they are drawn, that is literally a declaration of the intent to destroy. There's not much that stands against it. There's not many who stand against it. Even skilled fighters go down fairly quickly when they are utilized in battle and in combat.
And she's worse because she's honed herself in such a way where she might not even need to hit the second time.
Therein lies the dilemma before the township. Before them, they have a staked, ravenous gangrel. Before them, they have a barely being held together Toreador. Before them, they have a gaggle and slew of donors with a ravenous, freshly dead child. Not even a childer yet. They haven't earned the extra R. A formerly newly created child who still hasn't quite earned the R for as R-rated as they have been. And you have two Tremere waiting for you all to remove the problem of having revealed to them that kindred exists of their donors. So it is a cluster of many things, most of them being fucks.
Sounds like much carnage ahead.
So, any questions, suggestions, hypotheses, or corners we need to round out before diving full bore into In the Shadow of the White City?
Just remind me, like, where we are physically located. Like, what building are we in now?
You all are in the former domain of the former Regent of Dalton. You all are actually in Riverdale. We're right across the desolate ground and parking space between former Baroness, who you all slaughtered in the park with Zach's lover, and the Regent, who had it more than slightly out for you all because, well, you all, not you specifically, but this particular coterie in one of his iterations was the cause of his child's death, and he had been secretly working against you all from the very beginning.
Got it. Okay.
The former regent, who also was partially responsible, though you all haven't figured that out yet, was partially responsible for the death of the primogen of the Toreador of the south suburbs. The same bright and shiny, smiling individual, the silver-haired fox, who did his best to be beneath notice of everyone and anyone, who helped where he could, but somehow was never quite as successful as his reputation would lend others to believe. So yeah, the Chantry House is where you all are. Any other touches we need to get going?
All good here. Let's let the blood flow.
All right. Well, that being the case, and us having a dude to a comfortable late start, a fashionably late beginning, or diving back into this slew of mishaps, inflating together to form the width and breadth of the life and times of the coterie of Dalton and the south suburbs of Chicago, the coterie at the center of In the Shadow of the White City. Before diving completely in, I'd like to say thank you. I know you all are aware that play means a lot to me, and I am a fan. I believe I am the biggest fan of your efforts, energies, and time in creating these characters and exploring their lives or their existences. So from the bottom of my heart to the top of my mind, thank you, thank you, and thank you. And without much further ado, until we don't, this is without a shadow of a doubt, officially In the Shadow of the White City, Season 8, Episode 2, Statement of Declaration. Everyone is well aware of where we left this coterie, in the midst of all of that happening and transpiring, for them on an individual basis here in the Chantry of Dalton, newly under the sway of Cone Rose, Coin to his friends, though he doesn't have many of those and never had too many of those. He was always a scrabbling for power sort of individual, this being no different. Death comes for us all. It's only a matter of time and a matter of our understanding that it is not the end of a thing, but a transition, a change. One constant in all of the universes and all the worlds that touch and abut our own. Doesn't stop us from regretting it, doing everything we can to forestall it, doing everything we can to not face what that means for us. Those that survive, those that persist, those that have managed to be brushed by death but not taken by it. Zach lays all but destroyed. Frost lays in that purgatorial space known as torpor, that little bit of final death that keeps the senses able to perceive but the mind unable to do anything more than suffer it. Donors, their fear palpable and a separate entity in this room. The flop sweat that sticks to them and stains the air. Anand and friend blocking the path out of the room, Anand slipping past so that she can go and get the regent or whatever else she has in mind, leaving Muzan, Stella, Faye, Gina, and Dia to decide what happens to these donors and what happens to their compatriots before the rest of the evening might begin. So starting in anti-alphabetical, what is it that we might be perceiving in this moment as Gina stares at the slaughter around her, the carnage that had been wreaked, and the donors who are clearly, if allowed to leave, creatures of the masquerade.
Are we starting
Yes.
with me? I thought Muzan was where we were starting.
Oh, no, Gina, that big Z.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, she isn't entirely sure what the hell's going on here because she just got here. So she will walk towards the kindred on the floor and look over at Muzan as she raises her boot up over Zach's face as he's freaking out. And that's what she's doing.
Oh, a coup de grace, a mercy killing, a way to put something out of its misery. While you all see that happening, it's impossible to not see that for what it is. It is a mercy killing of a sort in the offing. Muzan, yeah, watching this happen, what is it that you all do? Do you let Faye go and feed to our heart's content, preferably on the donors, but potentially on either of the torpid or nearly torpid kindred at your feet?
Right now, Muzan's only staked Frost, right? He's not holding
he's
on to
not.
anyone. Okay, then Muzan shouts out to Gia, "Hey, no, we are not killing Zach. Just give me a second, please. Here, you take care of these wackos over here," pointing to the frightened donors. And Muzan will kneel down to offer his wrist to Zach. "Come on, buddy, drink up. You'll feel a little better at least."
Gina then will shrug and walk towards the collected donors and snarl at them to calm down, sit down, and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering who in the hell forgot that I am supposed to be in charge here. Can we all calm down? Yes, please. Give back some of your blood, but we want him to drink from the donors, not you. A, if you can calm down, we will feed you. You need to calm down first. So.
Okay. Several things happening at once. How many drops are you attempting to feed Zach? And Gina, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your manipulation and intimidation? And Dia, would you be so kind as to roll your charisma and leadership? Is a countered roll. Whichever is higher, of course, is the one that takes the most effect in this present scene. And as no one mentioned directly continuing to restrain Faye, there is a sprint. There is a dive. There is a ravenous, gleeful joining of her and the donors. Because
Dia was sitting on Faye. She wouldn't have had to.
Oh, you would.
Her.
Have you seen a hungry puppy that barely has control of their limbs? That's what you're dealing with. There is a ferocity inherent in the bearing of fangs. There is a... Let's see where Faye is. Before we dive too much further on. Faye, the overgrown, fumbling pup, the lion cub with the strength of a rhino, is flopping and flailing and attempting to escape because in the slaughter of Frost versus Zach, the air is in fact filled with the scent of vitae, which is so close to blood that the difference between the two is all in one's mind. Summoning poise and grace and the essence of what being a leader is. There is a reason for us to act in accordance with each other so that things can get accomplished. And as noble and understanding as that is, it stands no snowball's chance in the face of the ferocity of Xena's cowing them, and Faye flopping, sliding, attempting to break free to get near them and sink Fang. How Stella is maintaining her poise is impossible. That she hasn't given over to that beast you've all seen on a multiplicity of occasions. However, can't be said for Zach, who's on bearing his flesh, who's on offering a sup, who's on doing what he feels is necessary to save Zach from the impending darkness and doom all about them. There's an aphorism that no good deed goes unpunished, and this is just a furthering of that example as Zach lurches forward, his fumbling, weak fingers clawing into Muzan's flesh as the fangs descend to break flesh. What is everyone doing?
I think Gia got tossed on her ass on the floor.
Yes.
Gina will consider or continue to stare down the group of vessels and sort of ask out, what the fuck is going on here?
The answer to what's going on, if scrabbling, surprisingly speedy form of Stella lurches past, diving into the mass of donors, some of who are actually cravenly crouching, others who are just simply trying to back away and find themselves pressed to the wall instead of being all but swallowed into the girth blocking the door. There's one thing certain, two things for sure. If blood hits the air, little control Stella has will lapse. She did spend the entirety of the day until death permanently took her, taking and giving vitae to Faye. Once Zach latches on, it will in fact be a battle for control, because as badly beaten and very close to death as they are, the one thing that will light that fire is the taste of vitae. The idea of love and adoration that comes with that, even if that love and adoration is generated from one's own internal sense of logic.
I just want to double check. Is someone trying to attack
No,
Muzan
just
right now?
Zach.
Just Zach. Okay. Muzan will allow it to happen for now, but he will be ready to stop it if it goes too far.
Well, in that case, go ahead and roll your strength and brawl to keep that from happening, because there's no way that Zach would stop at where common sense tells them to stop. Being that damaged, being that injured internally as well as externally. They and Frost just had a heart-to-heart about Frost eviscerating them initially and destroying their childhood. They just had that touching moment where certain truths about them both came to light. They came to an understanding that they were not as dissimilar as they seemed. Both injured during childhood, suffering childhood traumas, both seeking every opportunity they could to shut certain things out, to anesthetize themselves to the pain that existed all around them. Frost through violence, Zach through sensuality. So the damage they received from Frost tore them up, not just physically.
Would a specialty in grappling apply here? That is 5 successes.
Impaired, there's no way that Zach could compete with that. So, wouldn't stop them from trying. The animalistic growling and mewling pouring out of them as you tear and wrench your skin away so that you don't break open more of yourself. However, as Zach sinks Fang and begins divesting Muzan of vitae, and as Faye sinks Fang and divesting the donors of vitae, and Gina calling back, what the fuck is going on? What is Dia doing? Knowing that in a blink of an eye, in a fraction of a second, what little hard-won control Stella is exhibiting will disappear. Knowing that Faye is committing her first murder right before everyone's eyes. Knowing that Frost Lays there torpid, aware, able to sense, feel, and hear everything going on around them. What is it that Dia is doing?
Seeing that she has utterly and totally lost control of everything going on around her, she does the only thing she can think of. Taking one of the donors closest to her away from Faye while Faye is busy with another one and shoving her towards Stella because she can see the hunger there. And she'd rather it be the donor than any of the other kindred in the room. Hoping that maybe if Stella being close to Zach, Zach will let go of Muzan and latch on to the donor. 2 birds with 1 stone, hopefully.
Is Gina watching this pack feeding, having been privy to something similar several times over when traveling with certain loose associates? Where does that place them? This release, this animalistic aggression pouring into the room. Sounds of slurping and ravenous tearing filling the space around them.
She's mostly just watching her own back. She doesn't care that these people are being savage killers. That's what we are. She is, however, assuming that everyone in this room is a fledgling except for Muzan at this point, because she knows better with Muzan.
The question is, when Muzan, where in his internal path of hunger does Muzan force Zach from trying to drag him down into hell?
He will stop after giving 2 hunger. Or 2, whatever we would call it, 2 units of blood.
Hang on a second. All right. So, at 2 hunger, would you be so kind as to roll 1/3 your humanity plus your unspent willpower, EC 3. While that roll is happening, the grab and the shove is not even any effort at all. Extricating yourself from the fall was more improbable. Donors are a puddle of fear on 2 legs. Grabbing one and shunting it towards Faye is the kindest thing you can do in the moment, as the hunger is all over them. And as Muzan wrestles themselves free of Zach, the blood now misting the air is difficult. Any kindred can resist, especially if their beast has been risen. Muzan's beast has been risen. His hunger is teetering right over the edge of control. All right, folks. Sorry about that. Can you hear me now? Excellent. So, into this chaotic maelstrom comes the Ghost of Christmas Past. Muzan, there were many times throughout the entirety of your existence where hunger was your only friend. Having a pack that understood you meant that hunger was their only friend as well. And you all drink your bloody fill because you could. Situation in this new life with the understanding as to what these kindred may mean to you. You have a choice of targets. Any one of the kindred in the room or any one of the donors.
Oh boy. I'm assuming he has enough control of himself to not choose Zach, right?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, bad. This is a this moment. He will go towards the direction of the donors. Whether he attacks one of the donors or if he attacks one of the kindred near the donors, I will leave that up to whichever you think is closer to Muzan.
Well, in the orgy of violence that Faye is causing, kindled they are by the sheer violent promise in Xena's glaring, fang-filled face. There's a number of appendages and orifices and portions of bodies close enough to hand that in that mass it's almost impossible to touch a kindred, but could always sink Fang into Faye. He is there in the middle of all of that as well. So it is a 50-50 call on your Muzan's most viable decision, which is most likely for him in that mass, in that orgy of blood and flesh. Does he sink Fang into the freshly killed, the freshly brought over Faye, all that soft succulence, that relative innocence? Or does he find one of the blood freaks and donors collected by the Tremere?
He'd probably think the donors would taste a little better. He does have Bloodhound, so he probably smells which one tastes the best.
He foregoes the relative innocence, the relative fresh death of Faye, and finds one of the less imbibed donors, soaked through with fear, spiked on adrenaline, and going down like a well-aged caramelized bourbon. There's no way, there's no reason for this ballet of violence. There's no way that this carnage is in fact natural. There is no way that this is not the response of too many deeds going unturned. Ed Dia watches as Muzan, Faye, Stella, and Zack give over to that which lies within them, that beast which is never far from the surface, rearing its head down, almost as if everything has been pushed to a heightened sense of itself so that this might be more probable.
In the midst of it all, she just kind of looks around and catches eyes with Gina and says, I know you just got here this evening, and I heard you ask earlier, what is going on? Honestly, I were to tell you the whole thing, it would sound incredible and unplausible. But suffice it to say, there have been many changes this evening, and many instances of backstabbing that led to this. You were given the two youngest, pointing them out to her, to hold on to by the Hakata, not realizing that they were in the midst of planning some strange ritual that would turn that one, pointing to Stella, into a bleeding sieve, in which we had to save her life and create her as we are. Her stubbornness and youthful idiocy created that one, pointing to Faye. That is her best friend, almost sister. So now I have two nearly newborn fledglings under my hands, and I have nearly lost that one, pointing to Zack, and now had to stake that one, which is Frost.
It's good party. What could go wrong? These look like babies take over kindergarten.
I saw that movie. Is it Baby Boss or Boss Baby? Something similar to that, yes. And while I shouldn't be laughing at this, what else am I going to do? Sit here and bawl? It is what it is. Hopefully they will stop feeding soon and we can all get our heads about us to figure out what our next steps are, seeing as how last time when we were heading towards the club, we were told that there was an ambush waiting for us and we should not head there. Speaking of which, where... I know you from somewhere, but I don't quite remember.
These have one of those faces. Which club?
I am the owner and proprietor of the Pescateers.
Oh,
So
someone was looking for you.
is what? Someone, you say?
Someone who thought they were much scarier than they were. They've run off for now.
So there was an attempt on my life, or on life as it is. Huh,
You are the senator?
yes. As for what it's worth, yes. Not very much.
There's also a man in bathrobe wandering around.
Fucking Calabalashi. That's where he got to. Did he say anything to you? You can see the future, you know, apparently.
He said many things to me.
Well, if you feel free to share, I would listen to anything he might have told you that you care to share, but no pressure, mind you. Looking up towards the door, I take it you have plans cleaning these bodies up after we are done, because I was planning on saving them, but apparently that's not going to happen.
Is just let the babies finish them. It's good lesson.
No, that is a good point. Perhaps once they are in their right minds, we make them clean up the
I don't believe they'll be in our right
Exactly.
mind in quite a long time. I should probably inform you, though I have been strictly told to not tell you, so I won't tell you that the donors have been dosed with enough vitally destructive poisons that you all will fall asleep fairly shortly.
It's good I'll not eat them.
Did the others hear that?
Muzan did.
She looks towards the person that said,
But the question is, does Muzan care?
No, but Muzan, being the elder of those feeding, does get an opportunity to save versus. That would be his stamina plus survival, DC 3. If he is successful in saving against the virulent poisons that begin eating away the tissues inside his dead corpse, he will be at a -1 for the remainder of the night.
Stamina, survival, would fortitude apply to this at all?
Does he have Defy Bane? Then yes.
He does. Okay, so I add the
Yes.
fortitude as well then? Okay. The total would then be 8. Oh, and how much hunger did
He's down
he
to 1.
recover? Down to 1.
Hearing the news and dropping the lifeless corpse of the donor in front of him, it's hard not to feel a certain way about hearing that. And as recollection dawns on Zach, recollection dawns on Faye and Stella, it is already far too late. It has already begun. What normally would have caused their insides to burn alive in a few moments, having downed the entirety of the contents of their particular donors, instead causes a little bit of vitae to spill from their mouths. Their eyes begin to leak a little bit, and they fall down in a facsimile or torpor, as the kindred mentioned. Sleep. This is as close as kindred come to sleep. A death that does not come from the sun's embrace of the horizon. A death that comes from too much damage, or in this case, too much poison. Zahn feels the effects of it taking hold and his insides bubbling as if he had far too many shots and far too much greasy food all at the same time. And there's the urge, the tickling of the idea of a gag reflex, but damn it all, it is good blood. The poison adding a spice and a mellowness to it, adding several layers of detail and vibrancy as the blood worked against itself, destroying everything and yet still being very much the stuff of life. So as the neonates and the childer fall to the ground in torpor, he smiles. It was to be a test, and remember, I didn't tell you what was to happen. I told you that I wouldn't tell you what happened, which is specifically within the letter of my agreement. If you all would like to avoid Cone visiting you and laying several whatever he has planned on you, now would be the time to push past and escape to your left out of the door up those stairs. Otherwise, Cone will be here very shortly with Anon to help him with whatever they are attempting.
Who is saying this?
Large bulk of the kindred in the door, the mountain of muscle that was in fact a former cultist.
Alright, at least now they're easier to deal with. Let's all grab someone and go.
Tia gets to her feet and looks the other in the eye. Take it to mean that we are no longer friends.
Oh no, you definitely are friends. It is. I can't tell you that it is all part of his plan to strike back at the rogue prince from New Orleans, but from what I understood, that may be his goals, even though I can't tell you that's exactly what he plans.
You need to speak to Regent.
Oh, he'll be along shortly. The Anon went to get return with the Regent and do whatever it is he's planning on doing that I didn't tell you that he might be considering.
It's fine. You'll pass message.
Oh, gladly.
So Tia...
Was it 5 or 6 weeks, he said? It's 5 weeks from 1 year and a day. Has limited time to enact plan.
I'm sure he'll be happy to hear. Nothing like having a clock in the background count down to your death. Either way, I'll begin helping with the bodies now. Pardon me. And unfortunately, he really does have you all step back out of his way. Because as it stands, even turning sideways, there's no way to get past his bulk in the door. Easing into the room on toes far too light for all of the bulk that he carries, he begins reaching down, grabbing body parts and pieces of the owners are not still together and piling them into a neat place on the floor. It's still a little slippery, it's still a little covered in excess blood, splatter, and spray, but he begins tidying up the room. And to add to what he's doing, his large frame, as he lightly glides along the floor, he's humming. Tiptoe through the tulips by the wind.
Fledglings will go, or fledglings will stay forever. As she points at the exit that was indicated.
Dia grabs
Muzan,
Trevor's lighter.
Muzan is grabbing Zach's remains. And then he turns and looks to Dia. Should I get Frost too?
No, grab Faye. We'll figure out Frost.
Alright. So then Muzan will also carry Faye.
Does Dia grab Frost or Stella? Does she try to grab both?
She grabs Stella, but then she looks to Gina. You can drag that one, I don't care. If you don't mind, please.
She gives a sneering smirk and grabs him by the stake and drags him behind her.
There is a certain amount of parity for the choice of which of your fallen comrades that you all carried. There's a synchronicity in thought and action. Strangely enough, as you all bound the steps, make it up to where you all pulled in just last night, Urzuli's beast is no longer there. Seems as if it had left just moments before. The ground is still slick with the dew from her tires, the air still filled with the exhaust, and Dancer is rifling through one vehicle after the next, ensuring or looking for keys. Oh, hey, you guys are finally done. I was going to come back down and help, but I thought it'd be important for us to get out of here. But then Julie said she had this thing she needed to get to. There's some meeting with some people's silk, cotton, flannel. But anyway, what happened to them? And it's only now.
They had a little too much to drink.
And it's only now that you all realize that he left in the middle of that last fracas. Gina?
His babies cannot handle Vitae.
All of them are blood drunk? Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? Seems as if the only thing that is the 1650 over there that got the space in the back. Though I don't know whose van this was, but it smells a little rank. What the hell is Wawa? There's litter from Wawa all over the back seat back here. Plastic bags, napkins.
It'll have to do. Get the trunk open. We'll toss these two in there.
The van, he moves to the back door and opens. It's filled, not filled with debris, but there's clearly individuals that were living out of this van. There's daylight bags, flashlights, stakes, backpacks filled with hoodies and t-shirts and all manner of signs that someone was in fact living or moving their entire life in this van. Not for the fact that there are different sizes and seeming different styles of dress, you'd consider that it was only one person, but based on the number of backpacks and what have you, you'd assume that there's at least 4, maybe 5 individuals living and sharing this space.
Muzan puts one of the two bodies he's carrying on the ground and just uses his free hand to clear it all out in 1 to 2 big sweeps.
Several cell phones go clattering to the concrete floor. Several bags hit and spill open, emptying their contents. There are food packages, though no signs of any food. Most of the food packages would have grease or what have you left it stuck to them, but no, it's almost as if they were taken as mementos, small tokens. All of them with strange puzzles and Sudoku and thought exercises crammed into them via someone's barely legible handwriting. Some of them have what... Does anyone have an occult of 2 or higher?
Ooh, no.
Nope.
Yeah, I got one.
One, you know that those are symbols pertaining to magic, not the fact that they are in fact formula for alchemical spell work utilizing blood. You know that they are dealing with something from like Crowley or some satanic book of the dead that you've seen or heard mentioned, but seeing them written and cobbled down on various small pieces of paper is interesting.
Before we leave, I will grab the phones. I'm curious about whose van this was. And she lays Ella into the back of the van and goes to pick up the phones.
Since the van's been cleaned out, Kat will one-arm toss the staked form of Frost into the van, ungently, probably bouncing him off the side.
And Muzan is going to put Faye in the back.
Then she will inform them that she will be right back. She will slam the magazine into her pistol and chamber around, stick it back in her waistband, and go get her bike.
She drive her bike in and park it next to Urzuli's monstrosity.
She drove it in. I don't know where she parked it. So
She crossed the concrete floor, across the space there, not far from that jumble of metal and tossed off, broken, unused, or seemingly unused machinery, though you realize that the rust is more cosmetic than actually operationally relevant. It's just there. It's not really affecting anything for the machinery. It means these machines are still being used somehow. As you all suit up and boot up, who's driving? Van.
I assume Kat's taking her bike and following. That leaves only me or Luzon to drive, but
Well, there's also Dan.
there's also Dan. But Leah is going to call shotgun and sit in the passenger seat.
Dan, you drive.
Sure, we could do that. I suppose, it's only fair. The only one who had the wherewithal to look around and find out a way out. Not like they kept the door closed or anything, but just the idea of it, Sure, I get it. Don't worry about it. I got you. We'll go this way.
You sound like you're trying to imply something here. You sound like you're...
I'm happy. I would never complain. Watching you all, destroy the only family I've ever even almost come close to knowing. It is what it is. No complaints here. None whatsoever. I'm happy with the way, and he looks back at Frost's staked form laying against the floor. Faye and Stella with vitae dripping from their eyes and around the corners of their mouth. Yeah, I'm happy with this. I'm glad the way that the things turned out. It's not like we, could have left. Sure. Let's ride this way. And he gets behind the wheel of the car and starts it up. The wheel of the van and starts it up.
While he's driving, he is going to look at the side of his, stare at the side of his face, trying to figure him out. 'Cause that was a weird outburst.
Muzan will just get into the back seat and place Zach's body carefully in there.
So, where are we off to? And does Gina stick with the van? Does she take off for parts due elsewhere?
Just stick with the van. She got nowhere else to be.
Thanks to our lovely new friend, Gina, back there, we can go back to the Pesketeers. We need to fall back and figure out what the hell is going on, and I would like to talk to Calabalashi.
Yeah, sure. Back to the Pesketeers. Probably should have stayed there last night anyway, you know, I get it.
Did you not hear the fact that there was an assassin there sent to kill me?
Yeah, but you got Muzan. You had Frost. You got Zach, and if they're not good for anything else, we see that they're good for a meat shield.
It's nice to play armchair cop.
Yes, it is. And forgive me, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to imply anything, but you don't get it. Like, I had to watch all of us get put away. I had to watch what power we had. We were second only to Genova in ruling this roost. At one point, we Warlocks, we sewer rats, we Nosferatu. And if not for sealing us away, if not for our family being broken to make it easy on someone else, none of this probably would have happened. Calabalashi wouldn't have come and killed everybody trying to get back at whoever he's trying to get back at. The ball would have still been that crazy little dragon out there on the fringe of Dalton instead of the Prince of Dalton. And I wouldn't have to watch what I had to watch with you guys. Like that.
You're saying this is easy for me. Being in charge of these people. Carrying
Yeah, I don't think what
whether
he's
or
saying.
not their lives continue or not.
Yeah.
I care. Too much. Yeah.
He got done in because our old boss, our old top kick, the old Primogen for all of the Nosferatu cared too little. We had our power broken in half, and then broken in half, and broken in half. We were sent on missions to help tour at the Chicago instead of helping our own here. There was only 5 of us. There used to be damn near 40 of us because we turned on each other. Yeah, I think it's easy.
Well,
By comparison.
well, I can't say I know exactly what you're going through, but at least there's one way to help, if not undo the damage that was done, then at least make it a little more manageable when we get back. This is the part where you ask what that is.
I'm a little afraid, to be perfectly honest, of what that is. And with that, as he's driving, he switches from his right hand to left on the steering wheel, reaches inside his breast pocket, and hands a Nokia over his shoulder towards you. It's not one of the original. It is definitely a remodel, a re-release. Has a full actual 5G network that it's on, though not in any next gen that you've ever actually seen. Little notification and screen signs all look like Greek to you. There aren't any Roman numerals or English there, save in the actual text message, which is still sitting on the screen. It starts with M. Witch Hunter is active again. Stay low. As
So
Was
who
on.
did he hand the phone to? Okay. Great. Just great. Muzan will put the phone down for now.
They're driving, and that whole exchange with the phone happens. Dia has looked away from Dan and is staring very pointedly out the window. And I doubt that either of the two would be paying close enough attention, but there's a very slight glittering of pink pistol against her cheeks as she's focusedly staring out of the window, not wanting anybody to see her having finally broken down.
There's a cost to doing business, and the bill is always paid. Eventually, everyone gets paid for the work that they are doing, whether that's for the good or for the ill of the community around them, but for the good or for the ill for themselves. What you put out, you get back 100-fold plus. The universe is anything except for fair and balanced. And as you all ease into the Pisketeers, there is a creeping dread, the fact that it is in fact open for business. There's a creeping dread seeing the lot with several cars, not of the neighborhood, just using the space to park instead of parking in front of their house and parking in their driveway. These are visiting vehicles. There's a Lexus, there's a Porsche, there's a new model Cadillac, and in other words, there's a various strata of well-to-do and nearly well-to-do vehicles in this lot. Not the sort that you typically see up and down the street, not the sort that you typically see in the neighborhood. The neighborhood is full of cheap, relatively cost-effective cars. There's a Versa, there's the Scion, there's Nissans and Hyundais. There's cost-effective vehicles, not vehicles that you by dint are showing off your wealth or approximation of wealth. Seeing them here in the parking lot lets you know that not just the Pisketeers is open, but the downstairs is clearly operating.
Kind of disconcerting is currently we don't have management.
So who's doing the managing then?
I guess. I would sincerely hope that he would not step so far to blind to do such a thing. But then, in the sort of cause, perhaps it is Zuli or Silk. They said they had to go see Silk, according to Dan, so it's not that far out of the realm of possibility that us not being here, they took over and decided to do their own thing.
in one night. I guess there's only one way for us to find out.
Yes. In we go then.
As you all exit the van, body still in the back, and Gina pulls in alongside of you all. Gina, it's impossible to not see that the club is actually in full gear, open and operating. The question remains as to how. You were just here last night and looked like a ghost town. Like a place would never open again. Yet here you are, and it's in full bloom. There is activity and people, and there's a doorman standing outside who clearly is not of the neighborhood and not here before.
She will look to the other three there and say, "Is Trap? Perhaps I go first."
I'll come with you.
She'll stride
you
on
all-
up to the door.
You
Or
all
softer,
mosey
perhaps.
towards the door, and Dia rests by the van, contemplating what this actually means. It is 41 after the hour. Let's be back at 51. Be right back. Okay, kiddos, how we doing?
I am here.
Present.
Excellent.
I'm back.
So, as Gina and Muzan make their way towards the door, is there any preparation that Muzan is doing? They are easing closer to the door, closer to a clearly defined mortal that you don't recognize from usually working at the bar or at the club. And while that isn't in consideration before Muzan gets that information out to us, as they move toward the door of the Pisketeers, what is it that doing? Is she following along? Is she giving them a count? Is she otherwise busying herself by moving to the side door or the back door? What is she doing?
I think Carter would worry about leaving them just in the van like that. So she Dan, please watch over them. I'll be right back. And she will go to the side door and go down the back stairway to see what all the fuck is going on.
Okay. So in order of operations, Xena and Muzan move towards the front door. The doorman there is clearly not from these parts. As you all get close, you see him raise an eyebrow. And instead of pulling his hands out of his jacket because of the weather, he should be wearing gloves and otherwise have liners in his pockets to warm his hands. You can tell that he doesn't have those things. The leather jacket that he's wearing is mostly cosmetic. It's not an actual pea coat. The hat on his head is, it's a Kangol. It's not a Scully. And as you all draw closer, his hands buried deeper in his pocket. Hey, now, slow down. We got a line, foreman. What you doing around these spots, huh? Weekend. What are you talking about? It's fucking Thursday. You guys gotta form a line, starting right here. You, the lady, you're probably getting before your masked friend do. We don't let masked people into the bars.
You got something against masks?
Yeah, well, they had your ID, and how I'm gonna make sure that the ID that you're gonna show me that's clearly fake is gonna be matching you anyway.
Why don't you shut up and move?
Oh, is that sort of party, huh? Okay. And he rolls his shoulder.
Quick question before this goes down. Do you know the name of your employer?
That's silly. I'm here on behalf of the Prince of the Quota.
The Prince. And their
You
name
fucking serious?
is...
You don't know the Prince of the Quota? He gets potty man in New Orleans. Said he opening up a shop up this way, so here's where we go. Here's where we come.
You know this place is already owned.
They gotta do anything.
Correct.
You throw a body, you throw a body. If you don't know who the Prince of the Quota is, clearly you ain't gonna be a regular enough to be allowed inside.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck this. And Muzan is going to just punch him out. He's not going to turn on Potence because he doesn't want to kill him. He just wants to knock him out. So... 1, 2, 4. Am I rolling Strength and Brawl?
You get 5 successes or more, there's no point of him rolling. And while that's happening, Gina, watching the guy stand there and literally be prepared to throw down for someone who makes no sense to you right now, what is it that you might be doing?
She will watch Muzan beat his ass, and if Muzan is not going to beat his ass, then she will beat his ass.
All right, so you all are simpatico with driving through this side of beef, who's clearly not from these parts, who clearly doesn't know half of what he thinks he knows. Like most things, it's over before you really get a chance to enjoy it. The shot is thrown, the left hand of the poor man begins to rise, roughly 2 seconds behind the snap of the punch already returning to Muzan's side. It wasn't a usual barking and wolfing, like your mama this, your other, and so on, and hyping each other up verbally. There was literally just that small exchange, and the shot was thrown. It was caught too, squarely and fleshly, right alongside of the chin, and the head snapping back with a crack loud enough to actually be audible. Down he goes, crumpling like a building being imploded on itself, his knees somehow falling under him, and the bulk of his weight just dropping. Woomph that follows is award-winning sound design. Speaking of award-winning sound design, as you enter in through the side door, taking the stairs down into the actual Pisketeers, not the neighborhood dive bar that everyone expects on that first floor, but the actual Pisketeers, where money, fates, and fortunes change. Even with a good portion of the honeycomb blocked off and closed off, it is surprisingly and high here. There are people moving back and forth, servers, your servers, mixed and mingling with faces you don't quite recognize. And Calabalarshi is standing there, holding a martini glass out towards you, almost as if he knew you'd be coming down that particular entrance point. You have never seen him dressed up. You've never seen him in anything more than casual attire and bedwear and the like. A step above how you initially met him, nude for all the world to see. The bedclothes and sleepwear was a step up. This This is outright insulting how good he cleans up. The 5 o'clock shadow is gone. His hair is well coiffed, and if you were to put a finger on it, snipped and trimmed, he had a cut. His fingers are immaculately done, his fingernails. The suit that he is wearing has clearly been tailored for who would like to present himself as, not just what he is. If you were to put your finger on it, standing there at the bar is Calabalarchi's evil, powerful twin. That's the only thing that lets you know that it is in fact him and not some doppelganger from an alternate universe, is the fact that that same mischievous twinkle is in his eye.
So, what's the occasion? As Muzan takes the glass from him.
Reaches down, grabs another, and starts doling it out, waiting for Dia to come out of her entranceway. As going away ahead of schedule. It cost me a little bit, but in the grand scheme of things, I can't say that you all have not been impeccable hosts for what it was worth. We gave it a good shot. We gave it a good run. It seems as if I'm going to have to attack from the north side, and we're getting short on weeks.
Muzan looks around when he says that out loud. Was that supposed to be some kind of, like, secret code or something? The cue for an ambush?
No,
Oh,
he is talking about the amount of time you have left in the contract. Lest you forget, we talked about this a while back.
Oh, right. Your 1 year and then the bill comes due.
Pretty much.
So nice of you to throw me a welcome home party after the evening that
You guys deserve it for ruining my plans. If I ever get from underneath my debt here, then I will probably have to exercise some sort of tit for tat. I doubtful that I will remember or even care by that time, but just so that we are on the same page, you all ruined my plans. Then he looks specifically at you, Muzan. You weren't supposed to fall anywhere near in care or consideration of them. You giving them a sample of you all but assures that they're going to betray the lot of you. I mean my fucking
mean
anchor
Zach?
that you ruined. You rusted it. You destroyed it from inside. The only thing they were supposed to care about is me. Your blood in their system with their addiction to adoration ruins that. Makes my anchor unstable.
I mean, if you give them some of your
No.
blood, wouldn't that fix that?
The only reason why every quest that you ever read, even though the wizard, the witch, the wardrobe is capable of these things, is important for the heroes to be the only ones touching it. I can't be the reason directly for their adoration of me. I can talk a good game. I can convince them that they are more than what they were. I can get them to believe in themselves so that the natural enjoyment of each other comes true. However, they are addicted to the idea of being addicted to love.
I mean, it was only a little bit of blood. It's not like they're blood bound to me already,
Let me tell
right?
you, let me ask you this. If you get just the tip down the canal, you spill just a little bit of what naturally comes from that tip on that canal. Can they not still become fully impregnated?
Why are you like this?
There's a certain blunt honesty that I just can't found a way to escape. I find it disarming. I find it charming, and so So, yeah. You being in love with them being addicted to love, throws the whole spell out of whack. Then he looks at you, Gina. Didn't I say don't let them drink on anybody? Can you tell them this?
No. Just do what they want. A bunch of babies.
Oh, you're telling me we were supposed to be warned and we weren't. Is that what you're saying?
I do remember specifically asking, was there anything that they specifically said?
Just remember a message for Regent. Do not remember a message for fledgling group.
Oh, this is Rich.
Oh, Rich was the only
This
one
is
that I actually
Rich.
really prepared for because, he's heartbroken. Coin, however, is another matter entirely. He somehow knew that I was onto him and he fled Gary to here, throwing everything out of whack. Why would you do that? I mean, he was bound for success and riches, and I could have done away with him and Gary, but now he's... Yeah, well, now I gotta go take over, points due north and then work my way south and send a couple of things this way. So, just brace for impact. And, good luck with Decibel and with Coin. Decibel you may be able to work with, but Coin is all dead set and determined to avenge what was happening to his entry. So he's a man on a mission.
Well, while we have you here still, is there anything we shouldn't do other than what we've already done?
Yeah, but if I tell you, you guys are going to do just the opposite. So let's see, how can I say this opposite so that you guys actually do it? Oh, I know. Don't do bad. And I said, don't do bad. That way you'll end up doing good. And don't, whatever you do, betray your word, but also don't give your word lightly. Whatever you do, make sure you stick to it. It's already over for you all together. 3, maybe 4 of you will probably no longer exist as you are. 2 of you definitely are going to die. And 1 of you is going to have a nervous breakdown severe enough that they are kicked out of their clan.
Dia raises their hand. That's probably going to...
Well, no, you're dead set and determined to be replaced by Secundus. People are going to move the child into your position, especially once they found out that they are alive, and you're going to have to be subservient to another Toreador, unless, of course, you become more of what you're supposed to be.
A murderous bitch.
No. Determined maven of style. Permeate how to lead without having to succumb. You, I owe you. I'm going to tell you exactly what's here in Dalton for you, Gina. Because you failed simple task. You failed me. You cut me to the quick, Fredo. I'll never forget. But, in all seriousness, there's a reason why the Gangrel don't stay in Dalton.
Is it the smell?
If it was only that simple. No. Dalton is wide open. It is a urban wilderness where you could set down roots. It's going to call you. And it's going to get into your blood. And before you know it, you'll actually have a home. And that is what's going to be taken from you. One thing you've never really had that you will finally get will be taken right from beneath you because you're going to hold back 1 second too long. Yeah. Good luck with that. And for you all betraying me in the most incidental of ways, I wish you all of the luck you have earned and all of the luck that you deserve, as well as may your enemies always know where you sleep. He takes a drink of his glass, slams it against the ground. For repayment of your hospitality, however, these individuals are yours. They used to work for a nice lady, another Toreador down south. Don't worry about it. They're more than on loan. Only thing you can do is find a place to stay. Good luck with that. Wish you all the well. And he walked.
Same to you.
And begins walking towards the bedroom, the suite of rooms that he shared with Zach.
Muzan turns to the other two and just says, "Whoops."
Yeah, would you be so kind as to roll your either wits and etiquette or wits and politics? Yeah.
Who's rolling? It was wits and politics and
Wits and
what was the other
politics or
one?
wits and etiquette?
That's another
Yeah,
kid.
anyway, my bad.
The problem is many-fold, but as he spoke with such surety, it's almost guaranteed that he was not lying. The problem with him not lying is if Zach is addicted to the idea of being addicted to love, the only way to make that story make sense for them in that position of the trophy corridor is they have to have a heartbreak. They have to fall out of love. And what's the worst thing for a Toreador to do? To be the woman, man, or partner scorned. And all bets are off, and it is in fact a matter of deathly seriousness. It's not a tale as old as time, but it comes very, very close.
Yeah, except moves on. There's something that he said just now, and I know we all want to laugh and wave it off, but there's something he said that struck a chord within me. For somebody to have to be in love. Well, it sounded like Calabalashi believed that it was mutual, meaning the reason that Zach was also deeply for you is that you love them back. That's crazy, isn't it? But you look so very pointed thinking.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Oh,
Who the fuck is Zach?
God. Please. The thing is, to break what Calabalashi just said, Zach will have to have a broken heart. The person he wants will be you. But if you love him back, that means you are not going to wish to break his heart. And we are all
That is
fucking doomed.
what.
Yeah, right.
I'm sorry. I think I missed a step there. The fact that I have some sort of positive emotion towards Zach is a bad thing.
It's not just pal, buddy, friend. You love him. As in, handheld on the beach, walking down the sand, hearts drawn, love.
Well, I don't know if I would go that far. I mean, It's hard to describe because, well, I guess I'll just say it like it is. I am not the one that had these feelings. It's the other person in me.
It doesn't matter. Feel to Zach as if you yourself love them, and at some point, with the voices in your head, you will no longer know whether it is them or you that truly loves him.
I'm starting to regret that whole thing with Sasha now.
And to answer your question, Sheena, the Zach is the one that was nearly dead when you arrived, which we fought to save, not the one that was staked and dragged down the hallway.
Is all the same. So, wedding bells, old man.
Oh, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do, dear? What do we do? I'm too young to get married.
Can't break sternum and hope breaks heart behind it.
You know why Jennifer did things for me, even though we were no longer together?
Why is that?
Because I was the one to call it quits, not she. That is the thing of Toreador.
So you want
We
me to break up with Zach?
That is the only way I see this working. We have to hate the one that chose us. We have to have our hearts broken to clear our heads. If we are the ones to walk away, it does not work. Because we have won in the game of love. Love them and leave them, wanting more, as it were.
Xena will let out a bitter laugh beside herself and stifle it quickly.
I've gone through a lot in my time, but a breakup is not one of them.
Is rent movie, get ice cream, you'll be okay.
And while all this seems trite, I understand with other things going on. That is the major point that one just made as to why things are falling apart. If we can fix one small part of this, perhaps other things can also be fixed, and we can avoid whatever horrible fate. Well, actually, he explained the horrible fate that we have coming to us. Maybe we can avoid that if we do this thing.
All right, fine. Let's get this out of the way then.
And as you make up in your mind to bid adieu to something that hasn't truly bloomed, been there in your actions for those who have been paying attention, including yourself. Most people have not been paying attention to the small, many accumulated acts. Care. Most have not. As it becomes a reality instead of a phantasmal idea at the back of your mind, you hear "Laissez les bon temps brûler," followed by several cheers and the breaking of glasses as someone toasts and tosses their glasses to the ground and others follow suit. Dalton is many things. Most of them poor, hard-working, determined, hard-headed, dark, empty. What it is not known for, the patois of French, that is so localized that you could smell the jambalaya in the air. What it is not known for, the scent of mint in nearly every drink. What it is not known for is the scent of a boil on. Not just a shrimp boil. No, you can smell shrimp and crawdads and a lobster with bits of this and bits of that. And that most potent and pungent of andouille. And for a second, you all realize how out of place that cheer is. Discounting, of course, the value of whatever glasses those that are meeting the concrete floor beneath your feet. That doesn't sit well. That doesn't bode well. Patois of French this far north. The doorman who isn't a doorman called up for the prince of the quota. You guys, a halfway house. Sisters club to a city far removed from here. Doesn't add up. The drive is right at 21 hours if you're able to make it straight, stopping only for bathrooms and like, you guys are dead, so you don't even get the full day. 21 hours is just under 2 nights of full out driving, damning hunger, and driving straight through. No way that happened overnight. There's no way that this call, these people, these migrants are not already on the way.
Out of character, so that means he kind of knew we were going to mess up, or
Very much so. It means right up to the last possible moment of that not being a certainty, or the truth of the moment, that inscrutably brash, rude idiot of a being held out hope.
None of this is weird to me.
It is a little bit, because the last time you heard that was, well, a month ago when you were down New Orleans way, driving through and moving on, picking up a shipment and getting out of town before anyone noticed that you were there.
Well, when in Rome, maybe there's a French community here. I don't know.
did he say these were gifts? Pointing around to the service. They don't even speak the same accent as our people. Look, and then she goes, I have a strange feeling. Understand. And she turns and heads towards the room that Elbalashi went towards.
Opening the door, all of the former decor that you and Nicola spent weeks designing each of the suites is gone. It is as threadbare as can be. The bed stripped of all bedding, the pillows without pillowcases, the wall drapings and hangings gone, the floor swept of all signs, and the back door left slightly ajar. Door that leads into the honeycomb.
Goes and shuts the door and locks it this time. Comes back out and looks at both. He's gone. And he took all my furnishings in that room. And I just thought of a third problem.
Oh, there's more?
You remember why certain people were not attacking the Pescateers?
Yeah, because he was here.
I'm for hire. Seems like you'll need some muscles. No
But
offense.
You're here, and Muzan puts his arm around Gia. Perfect timing, right?
That's all fine and well, but that man had a magic bolstering him.
Well, let's try and maybe get some magic of our own, eh?
His face palms.
Even magic does not stand up long to being repeatedly punched in the face.
I like the way you think, Gia. See, this is why we were great partners back in the day. We share the same brain cell.
I like to think I have more than one, but sure.
Somebody should go get Dan and the body.
Oh yeah, that might be important too.
Is it? But is it though? Considering what is aligned against you presently, considering what is in the offing, just outside your door, just outside of the small space that is considered your domain, and the injurious part of what is considered your domain is solely what was left over from the expansion of the Voivod. What is considered your domain is solely what's left over from him doling out domain all around you. You never even stated what you would like for as your domain, nor what you consider yours. It's what's been left. Senator White absorbing solely what they were given instead of what they demand. Senator White, the one opportunity, the one chance when they made a play, everything else has been what's left. The question that remains before Senator White and the coterie at large is, in fact, what is it that you want in this moment? What is it that you are willing to strive towards? Will you keep accepting only what's left, or will you take what is in fact should be yours? Looking around the servers, hosts, security, the Calabalar she summoned for whatever reason that might be. Whatever brought Calibalarshi to summon these individuals here, they came bolstering your numbers. Half of them are as trained as the donors you got from Silk. Almost doubles the potential of donors you have here to offer for guests, to offer to other kindred that may come to you for such things. Half of them are quarter of as trained as Frost. That gives you 5 times more security staff and body men as you formerly had. While they are in fact just mortal, while they are in fact not regulars to the area nor local, the question becomes, in this moment, what is it that you are going to do? It is a foregone conclusion that the Voavad is all but going to become the Prince of Dalton. But a foregone conclusion that the Prince of Dalton has saved the most potentially problematic individual for last if they have to force them to bend the knee. Question remains, in this moment, while the iron is most hot, what is it that you all are going to do?
India. Go ahead.
Is anyone in the van not liability?
I mean, I guess right now everyone in the van is a liability.
Problem was specific. He said, while I could do without Zach, I could do without Frost, as much as I hate to admit such things. Stella and Faye have a brother out there who is part of this shelter coterie that even some of the Ancilla in Chicago fear. We want that coming for us because Stella and Faye are missing or hurt, or I mean, we already have them coming because they weren't answering the phone and potentially dead. Well, now they're actually dead. But the point is, we don't want a war with Chicago through the shelter. The other two, maybe we could stand to lose.
Seems like 2 birds, 1 stone. You off your liabilities, you blame someone else.
What pool would I need to roll? Find out, like, advantageously, what would this do if she just had them, just like let them all die?
Just so that I'm reading off the same page, the question is, what would be the upside to letting them die?
Yeah, she's thinking, like, she's trying to think, like, what advantages is she thinking would be just let them all go, let them all die, get rid of them all.
Well, you'd be immediately at war with Chicago. Even if they were only half as important as they seemed, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it that they'd go to war. How they war is another matter entirely. You don't have any intelligence to know exactly how they conduct themselves, so how would they come for you? Secondly, they are a promise between you and the Castiglione Tories. And while in a bit of a disarray, the Castiglione Tories have a criminal empire stretching from Canada all the way down to New Orleans. As far east as Philly and as far west as Nevada. They're not a major player in each of those cities, but their organization stretches that far. There's even rumors that they have ties to old world Sicilians. You know, in for a penny, in for a pound. What does gossip matter? There's also the fact, very real fact, that Dustin Ball still hasn't taken up arms against you. But one of the many traditions that princes are supposed to uphold is the right of death. Don't kill kindred under princes. And if he is really going Amarillo, that would be a prosecutable offense, and he'd have a multinational corporation of kindred old enough to be your sire's sire, potentially looking into your business and your actions. Question for you is not which dice pool you need to roll, but the question is for Dia, is that particular juice worth the squeeze? Is it worth being free of having to be responsible for children and grandchildren, worth that potential fallout?
This all comes through in her face as she's figuring things out. No, they cannot be killed. The other two, again, I hate to say it, I didn't see the intelligence and them not waking up, but those two have to be saved. Otherwise, we will have more than the Boulevard or Cone or anybody else on that side after us. We will have parts of Chicago, the Hakata, loaned us these girls in the first place. I know, too many enemies. Those two die. The other two, nobody. I'd say nobody's looking for them.
She will look to Muzan and say, sentimental. Storytor?
Sentimental, but practical when necessary.
I think what was missed was the most important part of the equation, which was you blame someone else. Let your enemies kill your enemies. But if they have value to you, you are afraid to kill them, then I have no skin in this game.
So we're saving Stella and Faye, but we're killing Zach and Prost? Is that the plan here?
Wasn't the bathrobe in love with the one?
I just want to make sure we're all on the same page before we do this.
Much as I hate to say it, Frost was an accident, and I don't think we will ever be under proper control.
And Zach?
We won't have to break his heart if he doesn't have a heart any longer.
Well, if we're really gonna do this, I know a friend from back when he was chained up in the Rosie that might be able to make these two into a really good vintage. Look, I'm just saying, if we're gonna do it, we might as well get something good out of it, right? No sense in wasting good blood.
He's suggesting
You're the one talking about killing them. How much worse can this possibly be?
Yes,
Yes, boy.
who's going to drink them afterwards? Because I sure as hell will not.
Fuck it
It's
then,
funny.
I will.
The lips say that you will not, but there is no doubt in any semblance of reality. Your beast doesn't perk up with the idea of being able to consume a portion of the lives that have made the last half year to full year absolute torment. Only has Dia had to step into the shoes of her maker, is watched as everything that she has cared for has flittered away. Every facet of her former existence as the well-heeled, well-loved child of the Primogen senator of all of the Toreador in Dalton and Thornton Township. All of that is gone. Dia is no longer the footloose and fancy-free childer sent on special missions, who just happened to be gathering intelligence while, in fact, partying like there was no tomorrow. And part of that, great portion of that, began when Seth and Frost entered their lives. A good portion of that began when the Samdi Dami entered. A portion of that began when Zach crashed the party and entered their lives. It's petty. It's hard, almost impossible, not seeing them as the very real horsemen of the apocalypse of her youth, the horsemen of the apocalypse of her happiness, the horsemen of apocalypse that led to her being, well, they're still pinkish stains running down her cheeks. She's never had to cry over anything and still hasn't had the opportunity to truly cry over Nicole. Hasn't had the opportunity to truly grieve over Jennifer. Hasn't had the opportunity to truly grieve over herself, her present standing. She, up until recently, up until Zach, up until Frost, up until Seth, was they. She was they, she was he, she was she. Now she has been locked into a role that has been fostered and foisted on her. Less of who she once was. It's impossible to not see them, the harbingers of that. If Bob hadn't given the gift of unlife to Frost, if Zach hadn't insisted on repaying their debt, I did. Dia saved them from immolating themselves. And while those thoughts assail and bombard Dia, the thing that stands out for Uzan underneath it all is, as much as he understands that Dia very well may be right and has an insight into the Toreador, if he has to pull the trigger, he's not afraid of that. But this is the first time in a very long time, in several handful of decades, where he's actually felt anything. The idea of being able to keep a portion of that via Zach's vitae in a bottle on his shelf is endearing. Speaks to something in him that he didn't believe was there. He's not so quick to want to kill it away. He's not so quick to want it to disappear, but keep it in a manner that he can control. Then Regina. That was a curse if you ever did hear one. Caring about a place enough to actually have a home. It's a laughable idea. You have ranged and roamed, avoiding all of those such things. Because at the end of the day, home gives you a place where you can be hurt. Home gives you a place where you can be attacked. Home gives you something that can be taken from you. It's a weakness. Why would someone wish that on you? Why would someone cast a prophecy of that happening? You're only here, you're only back in this area to reconnect with Bob. Bob's contacts amongst the gangrel of the area is sufficient enough that you know that you can broaden your network here. You can use the very real hub of the area, profit greatly. You're not here to find a home. You're not here for anything really except for to find Bob, to contact with Bob, to connect with the other gangrel in the area so that you can get your network up and running. For someone to curse you with home, like being slapped all about the insides.
She doesn't know this person, but she knows herself, and he wanders around in a bathtub, so she just doesn't worry about it too much at the moment.
Laissez les bons temps brûler! Another round of glasses hits the floor.
Is regulars?
Tia snaps out of her thoughts long enough to turn around and raise her voice enough to be heard over everybody. If you break one more glass in my establishment.
A girl about 4.5 foot nothing eases alongside of you. Calm down, chair. Prince gonna replace everything. We got access to his accounts. We good, baby. Slow down. Let everybody have a little fun. It's just a little stemware. I'll get you bow in the morning.
Fine. Just call your friend. Take the bottles. But we must wake Stella and Faye and get down.
Shit, that's for me, or that's for one of your masked friends over there? And she twiddles her fingers and waves hi to Gina. I nearly done got most of the sweets all taken care of, except for that last one over there. That the prince said that you would take care of that one personally. Now, and she pulls out a steno book from her back pocket. While everyone else is dressed to the nines, dressed for clubbing, dressed to be seen, she's literally wearing jorts and a t-shirt that is ill-fitting and hides her rather ample breast. She looks as if she is better suited to the cleaning staff than to the floor staff. Standing close enough that she can stare Muzan into the face, she can clearly see the outline of his not quite in his human features beneath the balaclava. She can stand toe to toe with all of the vibrant violence wafting off of Xena like a perfume, and she has managed to not fall sway to Dia's unearthly beauty. Speaks several things into being. She flips through the steno pad, taking the pencil from behind her ear. Now, I done already mapped out the area, child, and I got a couple of people that might be able to deliver during the nighttime when you need to be active. But if I were you, and she flips another couple of pages and tears that one free and circles an number and email address, I'd reach out to this one. They seem to be doing a lot of moving, and while I understand that they are from Gary, but they are fairly reputable. They are not connected with the Voa Vod. Let me get to sweeping up that glass. I'll be back in a few moments. Y'all need any drinks? Y'all need any accompaniment while y'all make y'all decisions?
What the fuck is that?
Child, there ain't no way to talk about a friend. I'm Sabrina. I used to run several households within. Neither here nor there. I understand that you are looking for a matron of sorts, someone to be your mother of the house, and I come highly recommended. I'd be bothered to do the job until you make up your mind about it. Now, let me sweep up the glass, and I'll be back to y'all in a minute. Clearly, y'all don't need anything, and y'all sure y'all don't want a rider, y'all don't want a glass or something, y'all want a glass of somebody in particular? I'll take that as a no. I'll leave y'all to y'all meeting. If you need anything, just wave your hands there. And she moves across the floor and grabs a dustpan and broom begins sweeping up the glass. It's glass.
Nice meeting you.
Charmed.
And Muzan waves.
You want I should rip her throat out?
Nah, I like this one. She knows what she's doing.
Yes, please leave that one alone. We need to get help. Ugh.
Anyway, I'll make that call real quick. As soon as I figure out how to get in touch with them.
You still have the bottle. You still have the square bottle that looks very much like a night train bottle that you were left and gifted. On that bottle in Chinese and in Roman numerals is several numbers on the low side of the label. Yep.
And his
They the
name
one
was
quiet.
Larry, is that right? Muzan finds a phone and dials the number.
Hello? How did you get this number? Oh. Okay, what you don't want?
You gave it to me. I don't want, let's put it this way. I have two people here that I think would make excellent vintages. And I think your
Okay, so you
skills
don't
are
want
the best to make
leftovers,
use of
or
them.
you don't want full soul? Everything
That's
option.
an option?
Especially since, well, never mind. Everything's an option. I need to freelance. Where are you at?
Biscuiteers.
At the fishing people? Yeah.
No, the club.
Oh, South Suburbs. Okay, I can't make it till tomorrow. I'm in the middle of something. It will be ready tomorrow morning, so I can be there by you. Let's say 9 p.m. Oh, 10 traffic sucks.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Oh, yes, it does. We'll see
your
you
name?
then.
Oh, ugly one. Okay, yes. Okay, fine.
Muzan.
Very hard to keep my lunch down.
Oh, you
even now
remember
thinking about your
me.
face, but you were very nice. At 9 o'clock.
Why, thanks. That means a lot to me. We'll see you there. Then Muzan hangs up.
Listening to this, just the was-on portion of the call shapes up to be somehow ludicrous that you could reach out and contact someone, the extinguishing of another entity in totality. That's literally what he just made a call for, using the house phone there at the bar. Literally called someone to find a way to extinguish someone in entirety, to get rid of everything, including their soul.
So yeah, he'll be here between 9 and 10 tomorrow.
You have very sort of solved. We have to decide what we're going to do about Cone, seeing as how Cone is on a vendetta.
Yeah. But hey, at the very least, whatever happens, we've got some really great drinks coming.
Perhaps we should save a bottle for the Volvod and offer it as peace offering.
It's a good idea. But on to slightly different but tangentially related matters.
You left him at the van, keeping
Dan
track of
in the
keeping
room
watch
at the
over
moment?
bodies. The nearly dead, tortured children in your van upstairs.
Which I keep
Okay.
saying we should go get.
Sorry.
Yeah, you know what? Let's bring them all in before the sun comes up. We don't want them roasting alive before we get something tasty from them.
You have a bar upstairs and the Pisketeers itself, the real Pisketeers downstairs, filled with people. And while most of the few kindred that are on premises wouldn't mind, the humans perhaps, potentially, you're not sure. You haven't tested them or exposed them to the chaos that is your existence. New staff, the new members, it's all up in the air. How will you bring the dead to the world bodies of those children into your space?
Seeing as how we normally change out decorations, we should have like a stock of rugs or something similar in the storage room, I'm sure. Grab some rugs, grab some of the security that's new, and have them help us bring the rugs downstairs.
And Muzan will pretend to be one of the security.
Is that too far from the truth? Therein lies
Not at all.
Cover story. You all decided your course of actions. What is not decided is the fact that Jin is standing there and still he hasn't expressed nor found out a way to connect with Bob. Still needs tending. Slow and steady wins the race, yes, but the first steps must be made. What is she doing as all of this is being decided? The complete exsanguination of another kindred and the transportation of bodies and corpses into a relatively lively club.
She's mostly thinking, none of this is really my problem. But she's willing to hire on. Other than that, she's just mulling over. She might actually bring it up, but not right now.
Does she help carry the rugs in and mix and mingle with the security?
Yeah, she'll do that.
It's funny, in the grand scheme of things, how many activities in regards to the bonding of one kindred to the next begin and end with the moving of bodies. The very first instance of Dia growing embroidered and enmeshed with the coterie that ran Dalton was in helping them not, in fact, make bodies of themselves. It was how to keep them from becoming the statistics that they were destined and determined to become. In the course of which, has moved quite a few bodies directly and just being an assistance to it. Jean came into this at the behest of Regent Rich, a standing act of revenge against this coterie and their associates. Gina, unbeknownst to her, becoming enmeshed and embroiled with the coterie responsible for not having the opportunity to build the network that she knows is possible. not improve her standing or change her stars. It is because of this coterie and several iterations of itself that Bob ceased to be. It is this coterie, specifically the rug that she's helping carry down that holds the body of Frost, the childer of Bob, has the last connections to that particular gangrel, notable though he was for being large-bodied and forcefully honorable. Things change and yet remain exactly as they are. The kindred are a whirlwind of destruction, the world around them and those that count on them. As they move the bodies downstairs and into the storeroom, out of sight, out of mind, tortured for as long as they need them to be. The reality of what is shaping up and what is brewing rests on their shoulders. If they take actions, they can prevent or at least forestall the Voivod becoming the prince. They've already unified and had others bend the knee. Gina witnessed the last free Gangrel and Dalton bend the knee to the Voivod. It is clear that he has every intentions of eventually coming for the Pisketeer, its owners, and everyone involved with it. You know what they say, you save the best or the worst for last. And with that weighing on the coterie, I'd like to thank you all for a lovely episode. I'll see you guys next time. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Night all.
Good night.
Soon we will march on Homewood.
Solving all the problems with the controlled application of extreme violence.
Precisely.